Back in 2016, I was accepted to every school I applied to. All two of them. One being my dream school, and the other being my safe school. And I ended up choosing my safe school. Here's why. It all started in high school. In high school, I was a tryhard. I felt like I needed to maintain a 4.0 GPA, like my life depended on it. I love learning things, don't get me wrong, but the stuff they taught at school didn't really tickle my pickle, except for math. Math was lit, but lit wasn't. I really just wanted to maintain a high GPA because my sister, who was a grade above me, was pulling straight A's, and I wasn't gonna let her outshine me. And if you have a brother or sister who's pretty similar to age, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I pretty much just studied out of spite. I also never really got involved in sports or extracurricular activities. I think the only notable thing I did in high school was this state program called Running Start, which is a program that lets high school juniors and seniors take classes at a community college for free to earn both high school credit and college credit at the same time. So, of course, I did this because free college, duh. And by the time I graduated high school and got my high school diploma, I also had an associate's degree. Now, I didn't really think too much of this at the time, but I recently found out that college admissions love when high school students take classes at their local community college because it shows that they have more experience in rigorous classroom settings, which is a key for universities to maintain good retention and graduation rates. And there's nothing that universities love more than looking good on paper. Both my parents didn't go to university, and they didn't push me to go to university, but I figured, hey, maybe I shouldn't let my good grades and college credits go to waste. Because of my family's socioeconomic status, I had access to college application fee waivers through Common App, which made applying for a certain number of universities free. So I applied to 2 in-state schools. One of them being the University of Washington, aka UW, who was the it girl of Washington State schools, and the other being a small liberal arts college that, I'm gonna be honest, I only heard of maybe a few months beforehand, so it was really a shot in the dark. For financial reasons, I didn't even bother with applying to any private universities or out-of-state schools because I probably have to sell both of my kidneys in order to afford any of those. Fast forward a couple months and I find out that I got accepted to both of the universities I applied to, which meant I had a choice. Now, to most people, the choice is obvious, of course, go with the better school, but it wasn't as straightforward as I thought it was gonna be. And somehow I ended up choosing my safe school. And this was my thought process. After watching Disney Pixar's underrated masterpiece, Monsters University, I told myself that if I was going to college, I'm going to have the full college experience. I'm not gonna half-ass it. I wanted to live on campus my freshman year. I wanted to meet new people, go to parties, assuming I got invited to them, and make a bunch of silly decisions that would inevitably change my personality for the rest of my life, because you gotta do for the plot. When I was accepted to the 2 universities, I was generously offered full-ride scholarships to both of the schools through a combination of need-based and merit-based scholarships and grants, which I couldn't have been more grateful for, because if that wasn't the case, there would be a near zero chance of me going to university simply because I couldn't afford it. Even with all the scholarships and grants considered, the catch was I still had to cover living expenses. My dream school was located in the heart of Seattle, a city that is notoriously known for how expensive it is to live there. So in order for me to go to my dream school, I would have had to take out a student loan on top of having a part-time job just to afford a room in a house that isn't infested with roaches and rodents, and to afford food with a little more nutrients than ramen. However, my safe school was located in a little college town where the cost of living was a lot more approachable, to a point where I figured that as long as I got a part-time job during the school year and internships during the summer, I was covered. But then I thought, maybe it's worth going into all this debt if I knew that once I graduated, I'd be able to make it all up and then some with a high-paying job. But that is where I ran into my next issue. Growing up, my parents didn't have money, therefore I didn't have money. So if I was gonna spend my precious youthful years in college, I was gonna get a degree that's gonna make me money. When I was doing my research on college majors, aka Googling top 10 degrees that earn the highest salaries lists, I find out that computer science degrees were cream of the crop for getting high-paying jobs once you graduate. So at that point, I was dead set on getting a computer science degree, even though I had no idea what that meant. But all I knew is that it involved math, and I liked math. Which is hilarious to think back now because I ended up with a business degree. UW is known for their computer science program. Like, their computer science program gives Ivy League computer science programs a run for their money. This prestige also meant that their computer science program is really, really hard to get into. Like, if you don't get into the program through direct admission on acceptance, you're not getting in. And when I was accepted to UW, I was stoked. But when I saw that I didn't get accepted into UW's computer science program, I was as good as rejected. Okay, I'm being overdramatic, but it's kind of true because at one point in time, even UW's official website said that if you didn't make it into the computer science program at the University of Washington, they recommend that you just transfer to another school. On the other hand, my safe school wasn't really known for their computer science program, but they did have one. At the time, I thought the kind of degree you got mattered a lot more than the quality of education that went into getting that degree, which now that I'm thinking about it, was pretty silly, but my 17-year-old self didn't have the most perfect thought process. But this was pretty much the nail in the coffin for me, and I ended up going with my safe school. Choosing between the two schools meant that I was assessing a lot of risk. Going to college doesn't automatically mean you're gonna get a good job anymore, let alone a degree. Which is wild to say because going to college was traditionally known as the safest path to achieving the American dream. Going into college, I had a lot of self-doubt that I was going to even get a degree. So I wanted to minimize any of the repercussions if I ended up deciding on dropping out of college, which meant getting into little to no student loan debt. And you know what grinds my gears? How easy it is to get into student loan debt. Like, why is the government offering these mega loans to 18-year-olds who have no credit history, let alone a concept of money in general? I'm not saying the government should stop providing student loans. I'm just saying that there isn't enough easy to digest information out there around the risks of taking out student loans. I see too many people being blinded by the idea of going to their dream school that they don't actually fully grasp how much going to their dream school could cost, especially for just undergrad. And it really hurts to see, like, 4 to 5 years of going to an American university fully paid through by student loans can easily handicap someone's financial future for the 20 years after they leave that said university. The average federal student loan debt balance is around $37,000, and the average monthly student loan payment is around $500. And although the earning potential of someone with a college degree is a lot higher than someone without, coughing up half a G a month is painful. Even with a degree, a nice, cushy corporate 9-to-5 job isn't even guaranteed anymore. Would I have changed anything if I was given the opportunity? I'm gonna be honest, I think the answer is yes. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved my college experience and how I turned out, but I started university at 17. When I was 17, I was confused, I was insecure, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I wish I just deferred my admission by a year so I could take a gap year to work, travel, and as cliche as it sounds, find myself so I can really figure out what I wanted my future to look like. Then after that gap year, I would reassess whether or not it would be worth it for me to go to university or not. With that being said, I'm really, really happy with how things ended up panning out. Like, I'm in a fortunate position where I have a career that affords me a lifestyle that meets my standards, and I'm able to financially support my parents, which is the dream as a child of immigrants. I went to college because I felt like it was the right thing to do, and at the time, it was the most effective way of getting out of poverty. But this is now an outdated mindset, even though it wasn't even that long ago, because of how much the job market's demands have changed over the years. Like nowadays, people can start careers without needing that conventional college degree through certification programs, boot camps, and learning in-demand skills for free on YouTube. Like, it's easier and cheaper than ever to get the skills needed to land a high-paying job. The only issue now is getting that interview. And with that, I'll end the video. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you consider giving this video a big thumbs up? It's free and you really have nothing to lose. Also, consider subscribing if you want to see more of my face in the future. And drop a comment down below letting me know what your thought process was when you ended up choosing the school that you went to, or your thought process on deciding against going to school. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Toodles!